Good morning, viewers, and welcome to another session of the YM Personality Profile Series. It's a program that seeks to unearth the people shaping the industry, those pushing it to greater heights, and then show them to the world of the mining and petroleum community what they are doing. Today, we are privileged to have Rockson Coffie, who is the CEO, Principal Consultant of All Africa Minerals Explorer. AAME, as you have been seeing them in recent times. As is usual, he's going to tell us all about himself, his background, and then how he opted to be in the minerals industry in the first place. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. You're welcome to my office. I think, first of all, as you always know, Rockson Coffie, that originated from Obuasi and had the privilege of seeing a lot of the mining activities in my city, and that motivated me to fall in love with the mining. And then fortunately for me, I had a lot of senior friends that motivated me to do geology, and I proceeded after Redback College to go to School of Mines to pursue geological engineering.
But growing up, I mean, fine, you did grow up in Obuasi where you saw these miners in their hard hats going to work. Did you for once think, I want to be here one day?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I was in love with the young engineers, especially the mining engineers and the geologists, who sort of often comes out. One of them used to come to my house to have a chat with my dad and my sister. And so, like, I queried a lot about his profession, and then he said, yeah, it's a good cause, and this. So I sort of said, okay, then I can also do it. And right away, before even I went to senior secondary school, like I had already fallen in love with the course. And so at Redback College, it was all like my mind that, look, let me do mathematics, and then after that I can pursue to go into geology.
Where did you think you were going when it all
started? Yeah.
Looking at coming that far.
Yeah, I think it's about motivation, you know, like coming out of from student training, seeing what comes out of it as a geologist, the responsibilities and the joy of sort of making discovery. I decided that, look, I think it would be more better for me to pursue the exploration side, which is more research type of the geology, than being the mining side, where I did my thesis at the undergraduate level.
You are very productive, and you know that. You've been involved in various sectors of the industry: iron, gold, pegmatite, and you've handled big projects. What's been your motivating factor? What's been pushing you?
No, it's about the zeal and the love for the work, and that of the attitude of teamwork. You know, like coming from the days of the Trano, the Enches, with the team of foreign geologists as well as the higher top level local Ghanaian geologists. It sort of gave me that love and the zeal that, look, these seniors are leading us to make discoveries at this early stage of our life. So I should also pursue to come up with mine when I become a senior person in the industry. And that was the key motivation. And I was very keen in making sure that geology becomes part of me and develop it just like what is expected internationally. Because I had a chance of working with a lot of foreign geologists, and their attitude towards work, sometimes the professionalism and the brains with which they attach to what they do, also motivated me to get into it, and all the time make sure that I do a lot of research, understand what this has been done somewhere, try to relate to the project I'm working on, and then use that to develop projects that I work on, and that has brought me where I am now.
As a follow-up, actually, I was going there. You've worked in almost every mining hub in the system. South Africa, Australia, Canada. For West Africa, it's as if you are even West African geology. What's been your strengths?
I think basically as an exploration geologist, I may say that I'm much into trying to make meaning with informations like data, as we will call it, to establish things that are not known. And once I sort of focus my mind on using this information to establish what I want, I keep working on it 24/7 until I achieve what I want to achieve. And examples like the project I've worked on, iron ore was not my field, but I sort of, with one geologist from Australia, handedly took a grassroots project which was even never known by the US Geological Survey to a resource stage that it's now in economic level. And so it's about the motivation, and it's about the research, it's about the zeal to achieve what I want to achieve as a geologist. The results oriented is what always motivated me. And besides, I'm so much in love with trying to interpret, understanding data and interpreting it and making it exist in the field.
Viewers, we're having a quick and personal chat with Rockson Coffie, the principal consultant of AAME in West Africa now. Rockson believes that as a professional, you need to have the zeal to work. You need to always be happy when you're working. At least all the data you capture, you need to make meaning of it. Also, you need to have an understanding of your data, and then you should be resource-oriented and very focused. Look, going back to grassroots exploration, you're incredibly super with that, I should tell you for a fact.
Thank you.
But look at all West Africa now. Like I said, you've been to almost all the hubs. Now you are fully Cote d'Ivoire. Professionalism in the industry, are you thinking along my lines? Are we getting it right? Do you think we are getting there? I mean,
you know, one of the things I always tell my fellow young geologists is that the whites, intellectually, they're not ahead of us, but professionally, they're ahead of us. And that is what the trick is.
yeah.
You know, when you meet a white geologist who is focused, he says, like, we want to run this project, this program, and achieve this. You know, right from the word go, he's basically going into all research angles to understand exactly what he's doing and what he's going to achieve. But you know, like, some of us just feel that, oh, after I'm a geologist, I'm asked to go and do soil sample. And then after my soil sample, I hand over the data to my boss, and that's it. You know, when we are not able to change this into trying to do things on our own, understand even the data that we are collecting. You send somebody to go and do soil sampling, and you just go to the field and say, oh yeah, they say I should take soil sample. You know, the understanding of why he's even doing the soil sample, the data he's capturing, you know, if you read into it a lot and you understand why you are capturing those data, it will help you to get the right data and use it at the right time.
Yeah.
And these are the differences that I think that we should do more in our industry as African geologists.
Yeah.
That's the difference between us and our fellow European or American geologists. We need to do more research to catch up with them, because once you meet them and you have a chat with them, you can see that, you know, they are very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
It doesn't come by just fluke. No, they do read.
Yeah.
I remember one geologist I worked with, Len Koff, a very intelligent geologist. He reads a lot. So sometimes he and I will be sort of say, okay, Rockson, can you check on this? And I also check on that. Then we'll sit on a round table after coffee and say, oh, okay, when I read about this, I realized that this element, writer does it, that, you know, like those conversations motivate you to do more. And
Exactly.
it lacks on us as African geologists.
Yeah,
We
very
lack
much
that.
agree with
That
you.
is where we lack in the professionalism aspect of. We only think that, oh, as a geologist, this is what I want to do, and then I'm paid. That's it. No. You need to think far beyond payment and look at the future of what you can achieve as a geologist for it to be part of your CV. And once we are able to catch up with all these things, we can be rubbing shoulders with the European or the American geologist.
The state of the industry over the years. I mean, you've seen it way back 5 decades, more than a decade. What can you say? I mean, have standards changed? How do you quantify all these things? Are we of standards? Look, let's compare to the South Africans, for instance. Are we anywhere near the world standards?
To be honest, the standard that the world have set, we've come to a certain level with it, but I believe that we still need to do more. In a sense that there are certain things that people are doing in terms of the research field. Some of our institutions in our country, like in Ghana, we need to sort of try to support the institutions for a lot of research. I believe recently we read about people trying to use sort of biochemistry, plants in doing this. This has been existent, but I remember I read, I did a seminar on that in Rhodes University, how we can use just vegetation to be able to identify certain targets in terms of geochemistry. This has been existent, but how far have we as West Africans developed it? It's way behind. All we know is the normal one that everybody knows. And you know, when you do that, people say, oh, he's a normal geologist. But once you try to come up with different things, of course, you also be rubbing shoulders with people at that level. So at the standard, we need to improve, to be honest. You meet a lot of geologists who have masters, and when you talk to them in even the area they are working, you realize that their knowledge in what they are doing is very minimal. And that is our shortfalls as African geologists. Right? Once we are not able to capture that and build upon it, we would always be lacking behind our fellow Europeans.
The modern professor. Back in the days, it's always your mouse, your pencil, colors, beautifying these papers to look good in the office, and then automatically leads to discoveries. Now, modern guys will even hardly go and put his mapping coordinates on paper. Are we lacking something? Are we missing out on geology?
That is one of the basic problems that we have. You know, during our time, there were not much softwares that can beautify these things easily, contouring and other things. But if you look at some of us who have correlated those historical way of doing things and the current way of doing that, you realize that the modern young ones are lacking a lot. Let me just give you an example. Recently, I did a lot of research trying to identify lithium potentials in Ghana. I came out with a lot of targets. And how did I achieve it? I achieved that both the soft copies of research papers as well as hard copies of information that has been kept at the Geological Survey for many years, that some of the staff there don't even know that those things do exist. Sometimes they do ask me, how did you arrive at the pegmatite project you are working on in Makassim? Then I just laugh it off. Like, people are not reading. If you look at the information that they presented, when you read their reports, they were hard copies mapped that they scan and attach it to their report. And they have been kept for over, these are 1962, 1970 stories I'm talking about. And recently, like, I was going through some of the reports with one Australian geologist, and he said, so all these things did exist in Ghana those times? I said, yes. You know, everybody believed that let's do things on a computer. Yeah, exactly. But I believe that when you do information presentation on hard copies, as a young geologist, you understand it more.
Yeah, I agree.
I remember one where in the early days of Redback, my former boss, Stewart, you know, he was telling me, look, let's try and get this catchment of the streams on hard copies. Go and buy the contour maps. But in reality, I was learning a lot from that guy. When you do all those things and you come to the computer, it makes life easy. You understand exactly what you are doing. And when you are writing a report on it, it makes it very, very, very smooth and straight. You understand exactly what you are doing. In the field, you understand. Sometimes you look at it on a map, you say, oh, okay, there's a hill there. You go to the map, you walk. And so that you are still walking maybe 200 meters before you start climbing the hill. If you have not worked on these hard copy maps, you can achieve those things. And these are the things that young geologists are lacking. They love to sit on a computer. But try and bring that information to the computer present it on a hard copy maps. Let people see what you've done. Nobody will have access to your computer, but your maps are easy to be read by anybody. You do trenching. How are you presenting your trench sections? Is it only on, even some of these softwares cannot even give you the clear sections as you see. You try to present exactly what you see on the trench walls on paper. People come and see, oh, okay, so there's a structure here, there's a fault here, there are some joints here, there's a dike here. All those things can be captured and present on a hard copy map. But sometimes you cannot do it on a soft copy. And you just have a blank map and it's there, nothing. But on the hard copies, it's there. So to me, the young ones coming must try to develop love for presenting information on hard copy. Because even in the olden days, those things were existent. All the discoveries they made, Ashanti or NYSE, it was discovered on these hard copy maps. And the informations are still valuable to us. And I think that once we do more, because if I show you some of the sections that 1960 they presented from one German geologist did over some of the pegmatite deposit in Ghana, you'll be surprised. When I got those information, I was amazed. I said, wow. So all these things were done by geologists at that olden age. You know, they were measured in feet and other things. But you can still see, like the quality of the job they did. And these are some of the things I always encourage my young geologists to look. Let's get things done on a map first. Understand what we are doing. When we are presenting to the computer, it makes life easy. And you can present it with confidence. And that's the difference between us and the white geologists.
Yeah, very much agree. And viewers, we still having a close and personal chat with Rockson Coffie, the principal consultant of AAME in Ghana. Rockson believes that as geos and professionals for that matter, we should look beyond what we're currently doing and strive to achieve something. We should look at leaving something behind. We also believe that as geologists, we should be very interested in working on paper. Let's do geology on paper for detailed interpretation and understanding. And Rockson, do you have any specific approach towards sustainability in the industry?
Yeah, I think that it's two things. We've been in the industry for some time now, and I believe that people who have been in 30 years, they tell you that you have to swing the curve up for 8 years and swing 5 years down and swing 8 years up. Sometimes it's even less. That's a sinusoidal wave. When you are working in an industry and you know that this is the trend of the industry, you must also try to move according to the trend. Sometimes people are focused on gold at a certain period. If you look at, we did some cost analysis, sensitivity analysis of commodity and currencies. If you go back in the past 30 years, research has shown that once you have the US currency, the US dollar becoming strong, it means that you're having a problem. If it's becoming weak, then we are getting gain. All those things helps. So as a geologist, you need to look at all those things and say, okay, so if gold is going in that trend, then of course, one of the ways I can sustain is to develop myself in another commodity. Like what we are doing now in lithium. Like the world is now changing into electric vehicles. What are we going to use for the electric vehicles? It's these lithium batteries. The batteries that are going to be used to power these vehicles are coming from a mineral, which is the lithium. So why are we only focusing on gold as our expertise? Try to divest yourself into other commodities so that when this one swings down, this one swings up, you can easily get job in that industry. So one of the ways you can sustain yourself as a professional in that is to work in different commodities. Do a lot of reading, do a lot of research so that you can understand the basic approach in exploring for some of these commodities. Once you're able to achieve that, you can excel in any angle. And once there's no gold, you apply for another company who is doing exploration in nickel, in lithium, in bauxite. You can get job easily. But like Ghana is all about gold. So most of the geologists here are all focusing on gold. But gold have a sensitivity curve. And that sensitivity curve must be very sensitive to us as professionals. Else, we would be swinging in the wrong direction when it is also swinging in the opposite direction. So, and one of the other ways is also sometimes try to invest in the little we get. We are used to big monies. They say geologists are used to big monies. But when the money comes, keep coming, your expenditure become big. If you are not able to invest in other areas, once your job is down, your money is finished. It means you are now becoming just like somebody who is not even working. And life becomes very difficult for you because you are used to living in let's say a bungalow. They give you food 3 times a day. You have a Hilux or a Land Cruiser to ride in, and you come home. There is no electricity bill you pay. All those things you are going to pay them, of course. If you are not careful, you cannot sustain yourself. So you need to, as you are working in the mining industry, explore for other investment opportunities and invest in, so that once this one goes down, you can then exist at the same level in other investment you've done. When the money will come, but if you don't invest it, they will fly off.
Rockson, what are some of the most important highlights of your career?
I think it's about the discoveries that I've been involved in. You know, like as a young geologist, I was very much involved in NG. Now that has been taken over by Kinross and other partners from Canada, like Edgewater. You know, like I love so much of what I did in NG. Like there are a lot of geologists like Lucia, competent geologists worked there. They could not come up with anything. But as a young geologist, did everything with the help of my exploration manager by then, Hugh Stewart, to be able to come up with at least a resource before I left the project. And I went to Liberia, where it's a green grass country. Nobody have got much about anything in terms, very, very grassroots, very remote. And I think at that time you were there with me. And we made a lot. I remember the time I joined Hummingbird, they had sort of drilled about 9 holes of virtually nothing. And I said, look guys, we are lacking something. What we are lacking is that we have not been able to put the data together as a team to be able to understand why your holes are not entering the ore body. And so let's stop the drilling. Let's put our data, our soil data, our trend data, our graph data, everything together on hard copies. Let's forget about the computer for now. And then it took about 3 weeks. And 3 weeks, we got that information together. And now we replanned the whole holes. And then, bam, we started drilling. Not even a single hole we drilled that intercepted waste. And that was a huge motivation for me as a geologist. I felt so proud that, like a project that foreign geologists have come to work on, could not be able to achieve what, like, African black in quotes geologists have come to achieve. And I think the board of directors were very impressed, to the extent that, like, when I was leaving, it was an issue. But I mean, you know me, once I said I'm leaving, I mean, nothing can stop me. And it's sort of, and one of the other things is in Liberia, after the gold discovery, then I came to join Tawana Resources, where they had a grassroots project in iron ore, which was my first iron ore project I worked on. And trust me, I used the experience from gold, grassroots job, and my love for reading and research. And I took that project from grassroots to an indicative resource of about 120 million. And that was in the history of iron ore deposit in West Africa, the closest ever to sea, 18 kilometers to the sea. Nobody had ever found such a iron ore in a very flat terrain, I mean relatively flat terrain compared to those mountainous areas in Nimba and Guinea and other places. So it was a huge motivation. Last but not the least, with the lithium, like now everybody's asking, even when I go to the Minerals Commission, how did you guys come up with this? I said, it's been sitting, and nobody knows what's exactly there, you know. We've done a lot of reading, a lot of research. You know, by that time, I had sort of been in a consulting firm, so I was sort of priced on getting the right information for my clients. Other than that, they will lose confidence in you and your institution. And so I keep reading and keep doing more research, going to the geological survey, going to here, I even went as far as going to Legon to look for some of the papers they've written. And I got a lot of information, came to my office, like with my project geologist help support and one of my senior geologists. We sort of going paper to paper, map to map, trying to correlate all the information and say, okay, now we have got this information. They are located in this area, they are located in this area. Now let's try to generate this information, go to the field, follow them up. and then we came up with all these
that's very
lithium stories. And like when the Minister of Mines visited my client Iron Ridge in Australia on this just ended Africa Down Under, I mean, they were very impressed. Like the amount of work we've done in that short period, and the data we have reviewed, and the discovery that we've brought to stage, they were very impressed. And everybody keep asking, like, how did you people get this information? How did you know that there was lithium? How did you know that there was that there? You know, like, it tells you that people are not reading and people are not ready to diversify their research and their expertise. But I'm very proud that at least the first lithium mine that would ever come in Ghana, we would be associated with it. And that is a huge plus to our CV as a geologist.
Yeah, naturally, and then I also look at it from this angle. In almost all the AAME projects, you have locals as your geos or professionals. Is it hurting or is it helping the industry?
No, I think it's really helping the industry. You know, like we are talking about unemployment, and you have young geologists coming from school. Geologists, they will go to school to do geology, and some of them are working in the agric industry, some of them are working in the environmental industry. You know, like it's quite of. At least they should have that feel of what they've studied in school. That is why in all the countries that I've worked, I always prefer to train the locals, let them understand what we want to do, inculcate that professionalism in them and bring them up. And they can deliver. You know, like we made the iron ore discovery in Tawana, we saw local geologists in Liberia. There was only one foreign geologist that was coming in about every 3 months just to come and see everything was okay. So likewise in Ghana, we are going to make the discovery of the first lithium mine with sole Ghanaian geologists. I believe that. Sometimes we bring in some of our foreign geologists because we want them to sort of do that transit in the West African region to experience the other African terrains. But in Cote d'Ivoire the same. We are using our foreign geologists plus 1 or 2 Ghanaian geologists to train them up. So I believe in inculcating the knowledge in the young geologists. Because once you give them the knowledge, it makes the job easy.
Yeah, that's right.
And when you teach them well, they will also produce well. If you are not able to read a lot and they ask questions and you cannot answer, then of course you are not helping them because they are looking up to you and you are not reading. So they ask you, why is it that we are sampling outcrops of spodumene and we are having high grade lithium, and then we are sampling the same weathered material and we are getting low grade, where it's even deeper at the surface. You know, if you don't read, you'll not be able to explain these basic things to them. Because lithium, it doesn't work like ordinary gold and other commodities. It's of different stories altogether. But once you read more and understand, you can easily teach. And so we will continue. I mean, it's part of our objective as a consulting firm to sort of help African geologists, let them rub shoulders with the Europeans by giving them the knowledge that we have acquired in the years past.
Viewers, we are still having a personal chat with Rockson Coffie, the principal consultant of AAME in Ghana. He believes that geologists for that matter, we need to diversify into other commodities. It shouldn't be only gold. Go to lithium, go to iron, go to bauxite. I mean, that way, that's the only way you can achieve greater industry sustainability. And Rox, what's it about it that would surprise our viewers? Yeah, what is it about it that will let them say, hey, it's not that far?
No, I think as a geologist and as a young institution like All African Minerals, AAME for short, we have achieved a lot in that short time we have existed. We've existed for less than 2 years, but now we are working on big projects in Cote d'Ivoire, in Liberia, in Ghana, and now we're about to start another project in Burkina. So it tells you that it doesn't happen to many companies, especially many consulting institutions, like for you to just set up and then all of a sudden start working in different fields. It's because one, people have that trust in us. They believe that we have equal quality like any ordinary geology at advanced level and that we can deliver. And so that trust is there. And we would always want to do things very professionally and cost effectively, so that it will not burden our client, and at the same time give him the best of the data that the company that we are working for deserves to get.
I think the lithium program has been very insightful. In fact, I did an evaluation on it and I was so impressed. To be honest, I was one of the green guys who didn't know there was such lithium potentials in the system.
Yeah, exactly.
That brings me to your current position. How are you going to use it towards industry sustainability?
No, I think, like somebody, once the deputy minister told me, he said, Mr. Coffie, we will support you 100% because our goal is finishing.
Yeah, but what are you hoping to achieve?
We want to send it into a resource state that will be converted into mining. And then one of the good things is that the company that we are working for on that project, they have a bigger shareholder in Ghana who is working on power. Yeah. And these things, they are looking at it that the solar panels that they are building, is there any way that they can restore the energy that they receive so that they can use it at a later stage? And these are the things that motivate them to invest more in the lithium project we are working on, so that they could sort of set up a plant here in Ghana and then produce all these things so that it can be used straight away by the solar industry that is moving. Because like the current government is thinking more into power generation, and this is one of the ways that they can generate the solar system, but how to store the energy, that is where the lithium do the magic. Yeah. And so they are very keen in making sure that this project move very fast. And I think you know that it is moving very, very quick, faster than any other project I've ever worked on. Yeah. And I'm sure that we're going to achieve this in the shortest possible time.
What's the message you want to give to industry professionals?
They should keep on working hard, but they should use professionalism in everything they do. They should not all the time think about money. Sometimes they should think deep into what they do, the best they can get out of it in terms of the output they put as a team, or even if they are single-handedly running the project. Because all these things will bring your CV up and the money will come by itself. So you should not be considerate on money. No, you should be more of a technical person whose anxiety and zealousness is all towards discovery. Once you have that main brain behind you, you would always discover. Even if it is not there, you did your best. And nobody will come back and use that information to make discovery again. No. You should not leave a project where somebody will come and make discovery. It means that you did not work effectively. Sometimes people say, oh, but the company was not having money. But I also believe that if you did a good job, then the company could have used it to raise money. But because you did not do a good job, they couldn't raise money, and then everything went astray. So we should all the time make sure that whatever that we are doing, we do it with zealousness, with love, and with passion.
What's next for you, Ryan? Is that the end of Rockson Coffie? No, I mean, are we going to see you exploring new fields?
Yeah, of course. Now we're trying to do some research in Cote d'Ivoire on diamonds, which is not much known in that country. But I've started a research. I cannot say much about it because it's sort of a confidential information, but I'm sure that in a few years to come, people will get to know us doing serious exploration in diamond in Cote d'Ivoire. Because like people know us as geologists who are gold. Yeah. But I also have an expertise in diamond exploration. So I want to build upon that and also use my young team to give them that support and knowledge technically, so that they can also develop themselves in that field, so that we become all-round industry experts that are all into it.
Viewers, we're still having a close and personal chat with Rockson Coffie, the principal consultant of AAME in Ghana. He believes we, as professionals, we need to keep working hard. We need to always engage in professionalism. We need to strive towards perfection in our daily activities. We also need to be aggressive in acquiring the necessary skill set. Rockson, have you ever regretted doing geology? Given the opportunity, would you want to do geology again?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think just about 3 days ago, I was speaking with one of my mates in South Africa, the one I attended Rhodes University with, and he said, look, Rockson, you need to come and do your PhD so that you can be a lecturer, because sometimes when I'm looking for information, the information you send to me, more than a research fellow. So it's sort of, sometimes it's funny, but it's a motivation. And who knows, I might end up doing my PhD so that I can be a good lecturer and a good research fellow, so that I will help young ones that are coming up. So I'm not going to end now. I will still keep working, though I'm doing a lot of investment in different fields. But I always tell people who are working on my other companies that, look, as for my AAME, which is mainly my profession, career, job, I cannot leave it to anybody. The only person that I deal with is my project manager, that we always try to work together as a team to get our young ones doing what we want them to do. So it's not going to be the end of us now. We are still striving to move forward. And if you give me the chance, I'll still sort of further my education to do my PhD and move on.
Yes, you definitely will have to move on. You do love your geology. You do love what you do.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, and thanks for coming to me.